Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Let's hop into this, shall we? Oh, I didn't mean to click auto. I'd never come here before, so I had no idea where to go. I just lost several times, so I may have taken quite a long way around. I'm trying to turn off the auto. You know, I should have just... How do I turn off auto? Didn't even mean to click it. Maybe I should have gone back home and got my bike first. It would have made everyone else worry if I asked them. So I asked one of our other classmates where Sato's actual house was. Okay. That house was originally her family's, apparently, not their uncle and his wife. Their house had been bigger, so they had taken it for themselves. Right here, several houses all in a line. Over there, I was visiting Sato's house, but didn't particularly intend to meet her there. I didn't mean to spy on the enemy, her mean uncle either. Maybe I just wanted to be a little closer to her, as her Nini. Pretty words, but I didn't know if they were true. We should have went home and talked to our parents. If what Tomita-kun and the others told me was right, it'd be this house. I mean, it's still good that we asked to know where the house is, but we shouldn't have come here. We should have went straight home and talked to our parents. When I recognized it, my feet grew heavy. What did I come here for? My motive for coming here was absurd. When Mian had said at the end that we were powerless, it made me sort of frustrated. I just wanted to do something other than waste the days praying for a miracle. That's what made me come here. You should have went straight home. Like, it was still good to ask Tomita-kun and all those guys where this house is. It's good for us to know. But we should have went straight home and contacted our parents. If they weren't home, we should have called them. But that was all. Even if I were to witness her uncle actually tormenting Satoko, what could I do? Would I act like a comic book hero and punch the guy in the face and take Satoko away with me? Yeah, I feel like that wouldn't work. I feel like lots of more... I feel like we're not in the right genre for that. This isn't a shonen manga. This isn't DBZ. I mean, granted, it's not quite Dark Horse with fucking Berserk, but still. I feel like we're in a middle ground there. And then live together somewhere far away. That was ridiculous. I'm powerless. The cicadas' voices raised in chorus. Sounded like they were scoffing at me, as though they were saying that if I couldn't do anything and wouldn't do anything, then I should just go back home. I heard a car approaching, so I got out of its way, but the car stopped right behind me, its horn honking shortly once. I annoyed I hadn't gotten out of their way. I looked behind me and a familiar face was looking at me out of the driver's seat window. Coach, it's interesting that I see you here. Do you know about the current circumstances? Hello, Mabura-san. How unexpected to meet you all the way out here. Do you live nearby? Me being here wasn't normal. Just as I considered somehow giving him the slip, I noticed Satoko sitting in the passenger seat. So Satoko got out of the car and began unloading a lot of groceries from the trunk. I happened to run into Coach on my way back from shopping. That's good. I'm worried about how your uncle's going to respond to this, though. But then again, that's more so me just continuing off the previous thought of lamenting my own powerlessness. Honestly, I was wanting to talk to Coach at some point, but I was thinking perhaps the best bet would be to go talk to my parents as soon as possible. Even if they can't adopt you, they can at least... I think they could help. But I'm glad to see both of you. He said he'd bring me home, so I accepted his offer. She wouldn't have been able to carry all those groceries on her bike. As Coach spoke, he pulled Satoko's bike out from the back seat where they'd put it. The grocery bags were big, and there were 4 of them. They all seemed to be packed full and very heavy. Those bags, 7 smart? Hey, isn't that a little far to go by bicycle? I looked at the bags and saw that they were filled to the brim with sake bottles, snacks that you'd get with sake, and boxes of cigarettes. Their weight was one thing, but their contents were nothing less than luxury items. I made it thanks to Coach. He helped me out. It was a little difficult going up those hills. Satoko gave Coach a smile filled with gratitude, but it was incredibly awkward and even heart-rending. Satoko, these groceries aren't for dinner tonight, are they? Of course not. I do not drink sake and I hate snacks. Of course, I don't smoke either. He made Satoko go to the distant store by herself on her bike so she could buy dumb shit like this. And what was the uncle doing right now anyway? He must have been working up a good sweat at this very moment if he needed to send Satoko out by himself, right? If not, then how much? How much had Satoko suffered for no reason? I hadn't intended to voice my feelings, but they may have made it out of my face. Did we say it out loud? I don't see quotation marks. Coach might have noticed because he clapped me on the shoulder. Just then, one of the house windows clattered open in the face of a vulgar man. The very sight of which made me immediately avert my eyes emerged from within it. There were no self-introductions necessary. My gut told me this was the uncle in question. The first thing out of his mouth should have been words of gratitude for Satoko. Satoko, you left the heat for the sake on when you left. You had it. Wait, you heat sake? Okay. I really don't know much about alcohol. I'm sorry. That's... But you told me to go right away. Well... You idiot. You idiot. All that brewing I did for nothing? Idiot. I'm sorry. Satoko's miserably apologized over and over, bowing again and again. Well, this is fucked up in multiple regards. She could be perfectly described as a small animal. I had no idea what was happening. Satoko finished shopping for all this heavy stuff that wasn't even for dinner. She only managed to come back because she ran into Coach and he drove her home. If she hadn't been found by him, she'd surely still be by herself, panting and moaning, pedaling her bicycle up that steep hill. What was with those words, those horrible, sleazy words that he said to Satoko? In what country's dictionary did it tell him to say such things to a young girl who had just finished shopping? My anger, of course, wouldn't reach him. Yeah, and at this point, I want to tell him off, but at the end of the day, what happens in that situation? I go back home, and he takes out his anger at me on her? Like, oh, your friend, how dare he say this? And then, at which point, the only thing I accomplish is making everything worse for her. Even makes her less likely to want help in the future. Just make everything worse. The uncle displayed no interest in me, instead shouting at Coach, "Oh, if it isn't Dr. Irie, hello, why don't you come on inside too? We're in the last round, so you can get in right away. Do you have people over playing poker here? 100 yen per 1,000 points, and anything goes." No. I'll pass, thank you. I just ran into Satoko-chan and gave her a lift is all. I'll be leaving now. Nah, come, play around. You've got a lot of money, yeah? Duh. I didn't even understand what her uncle and Coach were talking about, but I knew one thing for sure, none of what he'd just said had been to thank Satoko in any way. Satoko, could you bring us the damn snacks? and start getting those beers chilled too. Do none of you own a car or bicycle that you could have gone and got the shit yourselves? Go get us some cold ones from the fridge. Also, even your drunken buddies are, I mean, at least they're speaking up for her? But I just, Tet-chan, you're so harsh on her. She looks so sad. You should take better care of her. This is how I gotta treat her. She's been like this since she was with my bro. Spoil her and she ain't gonna listen to a damn thing you say. Shit. Whatever. It's your draw, Tet-chan. Tsubaki-san declared Richi too. I don't even know what is a Richi? Sorry. What? You and Richi again, Tsubaki? It looked like it wasn't just her uncle. Some of his friends were over. Hey, wait. What were they doing? Flinging rude words left and right, making Satoko go shopping for your beer? What were they doing? My uncle's friends came from town, and they're playing mahjong. Mahjong? That was like some form of poker. He told me to prepare dinner for them as well. What the hell? Mahjong? He called his friends over for mahjong? They were too busy playing, so they sent Satoko to buy them a crapload of booze from a faraway store, and the first thing he said to her was how she left the gas on and to call her an idiot? What the hell? What does that guy think he's doing? Who could get lost in some dumb game of mahjong and send Satoko to buy all this stuff? Even though Coach was listening, he pretended he wasn't. There was a line of heavy-looking shopping bags lined up on the ground next to the trunk. Mabra-san, you help too, please. You're a boy. You get to carry this effort. Of course I'll help. Coach, you're going to let this slide? This is completely... Coach pretended he hadn't heard the violent outburst either. When I thought about it later, his reaction might have been the best thing he could do in that situation. Yeah, I mean, in this situation, we don't want to make things worse for Satoko. At the same time... I'll carry 2 of them myself. Come on. Help us carry them, please. These bags were packed to the brim with bottles of sake and bar snacks. They were so heavy, and so filthy, so unfair. They weren't just heavy in terms of weight. They made me feel mortified. Nothing could have been heavier than that. Keiichi-san, there's no need to push yourself. I'll carry it. No, I will help. Satoko mistook my biting back the humiliation as grimacing under the weight, and offered to help. No, I don't mind helping you. Stupid. Don't underestimate me. Satoko had never looked down on my physical strength in the slightest. Grah. Coach, I'm sorry for you too. It must have been heavy. No, not at all, answered Coach, smiling vaguely. If it's heavy for us, then how the fuck are you carrying it? I mean, again, I don't want to insult you, but at the same time, it is completely unfair to be asking you to even carry this shit at all. Coolly. But I alone knew. Coach was an adult, so he just knew how to keep his feelings from showing. There was even more anger than I was feeling burning deep in his eyes. Well, haha, it is heavy. Shit, are we dropping something? It wasn't very far to the doorstep of Sato's house, but the bags squeezed my palms and started leaving red marks. Fury welled up in me and the back of my throat stung. But even if it all came gushing out, it wouldn't solve anything. So, just tightly gritting my teeth was as much as I could do. Really, thank you so much. Both of you. You really helped me there. Helped me here. I mean, I'm glad to help you, and I appreciate that you're thankful for it. But I feel like you shouldn't be in this situation to begin with. After we carried them back to the back door, Satoko said that was enough. Occasionally we'd hear the repulsive laughing of our uncle and her friends from within, and my insides would seethe. I knew they weren't ridiculing us, and that was why it made me so mad. They'd made Satoko shop for all this heavy, selfish stuff. They ignored her and laughed amongst themselves as they pleased. It was deeply aggravating. Of course, Coach had to have felt the same way. But if he accidentally let his feelings slip onto his face, he'd only cause Satoko more worry. He knew all that and spoke coolly, as if to say he didn't care. I mean, in this situation, we're trying to, one, not make things worse for Satoko, and two, we're trying to give her a feeling of reassurance. And to feel like she's not being a burden. Because last thing we want is for her to feel like she's being a burden on us, and then she won't, be open with us about, well, needing help. Or about anything that happens. And she'll worry more. And that won't make things better at all. Not at all. I'm happy I could be a bit of help for you. If there's anything else I can help with, please tell me. Honestly, that's the best thing you could possibly say. Yes, I really am happy you feel that way. That he feels that way. Those words were sad. Satoko herself was sad and resigned that we could only help her so much. But she was right. No matter how much Coach and I want to help Satoko, this was as much as we could do. I felt absolutely ashamed at not having the power to help her any more than this. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel a bit in the previous video, talking about I want to help, but what the fuck can I really do? And it's like, you want to help, but at the same time you know you can't, and it's like, you feel angry, you feel ashamed. Burning, boiling emotions were bubbling up within me and rising into my throat. Trembling all over, I almost started to cry from my fury. Me too. If there's anything I can do, I'll help you whenever you need. So hang in there. I wanted to at least give her those trite words, thing that'd help her whenever she wanted. Well, yeah. We're at least letting her know that she's not alone, and that we care about her. Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy just that you came all the way here when you didn't need to. Satoko seemed to have guessed what I was doing in a place like this, when my house was in the opposite direction from school. Alright, you should get going. They're drunk right now, so there's no telling what they'll get mad at you for. She felt guilty getting us involved after we'd helped her, because she wanted to be the only one to suffer this misfortune. You can't carry all the burden on yourself. You're not alone, Satoko. You don't have to be, and you don't have to do everything by yourself. We're your friends. That's how it looked, and it hurt. I handed my supermarket bag over to Satoko, and then I noticed on the back of Satoko's hand there was something that looked like a bruise. Hey, Satoko, what the heck is that bruise? I knew as much as anyone else how transparent that sounded. I didn't need to hear it from Satoko to know how this bruise came to be. I just slipped on the stairs and hit it a little. Please pay it no mind. You're lying. Coach nudged me in the back, and then he put his index finger to his mouth to chide me for being so loud. Really, thank you so much. Until tomorrow, I hope we can see each other at school. That's not what I'm talking about. I asked you how you got that bruise on your hand. We need to... The evening glow finally got to a point where I could see the other concealed oval-shaped bruises and traces of swelling on her neck and her legs and other places too. I fell down the stairs. Well, I feel angry at the stairs. Ho ho, what is this laughter? At the very moment my violent rampaging emotions were about to burst the way out of my throat, I found myself being tightly clamped down on. Coach was pressing down on my mouth from behind, wrapping around me tightly with his hands. Because of that, I couldn't say anything. I could only groan. Which I did. That was all I could do. I needed to expel all the magma sitting deep within me, because otherwise I'd surely explode into a million pieces that very moment. So I groaned. From my mouth, from my whole body, while the heat fell in drops from my eyes. I groaned and groaned. I groaned to the point of exhaustion. I wrung absolutely everything out of myself. Even having lost my voice, I was still ringing it all out. I understand. How you feel, I really do. Mabra-san, please, just endure it for now. Please, I'm asking you, Mabra-san. Endure it for now? And then what, huh? What would happen to her, to Satoko? Her body and mind were wounded. She was being made to suffer like this. Can you not even let me howl in vain at it? He's gonna give us a car ride home. We can scream and yell on the car ride home. Is that it, Coach? Are we this powerless, so powerless that we can't even fucking scream from the bottom of our hearts? I mean, we can scream somewhere else. And like I said, we can talk to our parents. Either they can adopt her or, you know... Heck, if anything, we also have some first-hand information, and I can even bring Coach in to talk to my parents, too. You know, Coach, the parents, the teachers, the Sonozakis, we can all work together, get the mayor's, you know, backing, and, well, my parents can adopt her. The Sonozakis can offer the dude clemency, because they are probably eventually going to have issues with him. The only reason he didn't embezzle stuff himself is because he wasn't even allowed to look at the shit. But screaming here doesn't help her. The voice of Tatarigoroshi made me calm down. One moment. I apologize. I'm back. I had to blow my nose. I guess it's just the weather here, late April. Must be a lot of pollen in the air or something. I didn't know how long it had been. Satoko abruptly gave a slight bow. Thank you very much, Keiji-san. Satoko, you looked a lot like my real Nini just now. That's... Well, I'm glad your eyes are a little bit closer, but... my real Nini may not be here anymore. But I have another Nini named Keiichi-san. Yeah, you got it. I'm your Nini. And when you're in pain, I'll help you no matter what. Your Nini will rescue you for sure. Satoshi Hojo, you fucking idiot. If not now, then when he's dead. He is dead. Satoko, she's never been in more pain in her life. If her Nini doesn't save her now, then when will? He's dead. Why did you run away? He's dead. Why did you abandon her? 'Cause he died. Why did you leave Satoko behind? Because he forgot how to breathe. You don't have any right to call yourself Satoko's Nini. He doesn't have flesh anymore. He's a skeleton. I won't run away. Huh? I definitely won't run away. I won't run away and abandon you like Satoshi did. No way. I will not abandon you. Slip. Tears trickled down from Satoko's eyes. And then she narrowed her eyes into a smile. Goodbye, Nini. Satoko took her right hand and awkwardly waved to me. I'll be alright. My Nini now helped me. Helped me so much, so I'll be okay. I'll do my best until tomorrow. I'll be okay. So, for today, this is goodbye. There was no way that I could say, "Bye, see you tomorrow." And then, from inside the house came a throaty, disgusting voice. "Satoko, could you bring us the snacks already?" "Okay, Nini." "Get going already. I'll be fine now. Hurry." "Let's go, Mabro-san. Staying any longer than this would be a bother to Satoko-chan." "Coach, Nini's house is a little far away. I'm sorry to ask you this, but could you take him home?" "I appreciate that. I might not have asked myself. I probably would have just walked into the woods and maybe just talked to myself for a couple hours before eventually going home. Though I should just try to go home as quick as possible to try to talk to my parents. I'm glad the artist did not draw you if, Yes. I'll do that. Coach grabbed me by the collar with a strength I couldn't have imagined him having, started dragging me away, and I, unable to oppose him, started getting further away from Satoko. She waved her hand to us, expression still dark, and disappeared through the back door. Coach got in the car first, then turned around on the narrow path and brought the passenger side door around for me. "I know how you feel so well it hurts." "No. I think I understand it even more than you. But right now, just for now, please endure it." She understood exactly how you feel, so please endure it. If you don't, I know already. I'm sorry, thank you for before. I meekly got into the passenger's seat. The car accelerated quietly, and Satoko's house grew further and further away in the rear-view mirror. I'm back. We made a wide turn and then I couldn't see your house anymore. Is your house that far away? It's in the other direction from school, isn't it? I didn't bother to reply. I would have been hard-pressed to give him an answer as to why I was at Satoko's house. Coach didn't say anything more either. I'm sure he understands. For a while, the two of us were silent, the only sounds from the gravel spraying all over the road as we drove. I remembered how Rena said things were different than last year. At the time, she had a Satoshi with her. Satoshi protected Satoko, so that less of the sparks fell into her. But now Satoshi isn't here. Neither is the woman that he was usually arguing with. Yes, that's the unfortunate truth. Coach seemed to understand what I really meant when I said that. It's a terribly sad, cruel story. But there's a limit to our resolve, our efforts, and our assistance. It sounded like an excuse, but he was right. Even if Coach and I wanted to be people, Satoko could depend on. That was all. It ended at the front door. No matter how much I shouted, that would be her, that I would be her Nini. No matter how much I shouted that I wouldn't abandon her, and no matter how much Satoko called me Nini, I couldn't do any more than that. What on earth could Satoshi have gone? Right, Satoshi was another story. Her actual brother, Satoshi, he was in a position to protect her far, far better than we ever could. That was the cold, sad truth of the massive gulf between Satoshi and us. I wonder what he's been doing lately. Satoshi left home. I didn't know why. Maybe it was because it was Shirasama's curse, or he disappeared or something. In any case, he wasn't beside Satoko now. At the time Satoko needed him to protect her most, he wasn't here. Why isn't he here? Satoko needs him now more than ever. A lot of people talk about Shirasama's curse, but the only thing I can say is that he ran away. One of my friends said that one day he just never came back. He ran away without even saying so much as a note for his sister. Satoshi-kun had been doing part-time jobs a lot. At the time, Satoko-chan really wanted this huge stuffed animal. It ended up costing a lot of money, so he was doing all sorts of part-time jobs in order to afford it. He felt so strongly about it. Everyone was whispering about how he at least wanted to get his sister a nice birthday present, since she was being made to live in such a pitiful life with her uncle and his wife. In the end, he didn't use his savings for a birthday present for Satoko. Satoshi-kun disappeared and the police looked long and hard. They found out Satoshi-kun had withdrawn all his savings himself on the day he left. After checking all over, they began to think that maybe he used the savings to go to Tokyo. Tokyo? For what? Again, all I can say is he ran away. He saved all the money so he could run away. He was that selfish. But how could he just leave Satoko behind? If he was going to run away anyway, he should have brought Satoko with him. Even now, Coach was still calm. He wasn't trying to pour any oil on the fire of my anger at all. He just waited until my anger naturally subsided. After listening to the gravel being crushed under the wheels for a while, Coach spoke abruptly. Please understand. Satoko-chan left behind arrived at the same conclusion. I'm a burden on my brother, and that's why he abandoned me. He didn't take her with him when he left. How terrible must Satoko have felt, being betrayed by the brother she loved so much. But Satoko-chan was a very strong person. Of course, she had the support of close friends too, but that was how she regained her smile. I recalled how Satoko had spoken of Satoshi so brightly when I was eating dinner with her and Rika-chan a few days ago. At the time, I didn't think any more of it than how pleasant their sibling love had been. Is my ceiling still covered in the black char stuff from when I almost burned down the house? But now I did think about it. I realized it was like she was peering into the distance from top a pile of tragic perseverance. She said Satoshi-kun would come back for sure, and that when he did, she wanted him to see how she was no longer a burden. Satoko isn't a burden. She's way better at day-to-day living than me, and she can do pretty much anything. I mean, she might fall behind Rena and Rika-chan in certain aspects, but she's way more of an adult than most people. That's the result of her having worked so hard since she didn't know when Satoshi would come home. Her efforts are so painful. While she lived with Rika-chan, while Rika-chan taught her how to handle everything flawlessly, all so that she could welcome back Satoshi at any time, so that she could show it. She wasn't ashamed. So, when is Satoshi going to come back? I asked Coach, but knew he wouldn't be able to answer. In any case, Satoshi ran away. He left Satoko and ran away from Hinamizawa. Someone said that when you leave Hinamizawa and run away, Oshirisuma's curse gets you, right? Then that made sense. Satoshi ran away in his disappearance. That would obviously mean people thought it was the curse, right? and they could smile, as though it were his own fault, as though he got what he deserved. Hey, Yoshiro-sama, whoever you are. Satoshi didn't vanish when he ran away. You demoned away with your curse, didn't you? If that's not what happened, then I couldn't forgive him. When did Satoshi run away? The night of the Tatarigoroshi festival last year, when their aunt was killed by that deviant. It was a few days after that, on Satoko-chan's birthday. On Satoko-chan's birthday. Bang! You have a really shitty birthday, Satoko. Because every year, people are dying on your birthday. I slammed my hands on the dashboard in front of me with all my might. Satoshi, of all the days, you could have chosen to run away. Their aunt just died a few days before, didn't she? All your days of suffering were about to end, weren't they? You were just about to start thinking about a new life, weren't you? It's wrong to be happy about someone dying. But for Satoko and her brother, her birthday had to come at a critical turning point. Their mean uncle had fled town, and the siblings would be left alone. They should have been able to be happy of that. On Satoko's birthday, Satoko was probably waiting for her brother to return the whole time, waiting for her brother to return. When he never did, waiting with bated breath for her brother to return, her hopes and dreams of a new life growing ever larger. But no matter how long she waited, he didn't come back. He didn't even contact her. Satoko trembling in anticipation of a great present. Just when would she have to face the cold, terrible truth? He's dead, by the way. Satoshi, you fucking idiot. I could feel my blood rising to my head in anger at Satoshi. I was frustrated. I was aggravated. I couldn't forgive him. Satoko still respected and adored her older brother, and yet he so heartlessly betrayed her. Such a person wouldn't just come back now, when he was most needed. Yes, no one would protect her. Not even her real brother Satoshi. So when she started to see you as her Nini, I was happy. I pray for Satoko-chan's happiness as well. But I have a position in society and a job to do every day. I have little time that I can devote to Satoko-chan. But you're different. You go to school with her, and you're closer to her than Satoshi-kun in age. I know you think you can only do so much, but you're in a position where you can give Satoko-chan a hand much better than I can. So, I want you to help her enough for the both of us. That's what I wish for. But that's... Coach, you could... Of course, with my job skills, there are plenty of things only I can help her with. But in the same way, there are only things you can do for her. What I want to say is we should both perform in every way we can. We should also still talk to Keiichi-kun's parents. Was that a little too complicated? Coach added that, but I shook my head in response. When I heard him say that he had job skills, it reminded me that as an adult, in a different position from all of us, maybe I should ask him about it. Oh, Coach, do you know a lot about laws? No, I know even less about the average person. Why? I thought back to when I would argue Mion and Shion about Satoko. Our children's argument had only left us with the conclusion that we had to wait and see. But what would an adult think? What was it? The child welfare law? As an emergency measure to secure the safety of a juvenile, they can force him or her to separate from their parents. They can do that. So then we could rescue Satoko from her uncle right away? Satoko-chan might not want that, unless the person being abused wants shelter. Anyway, it doesn't go that far. Satoko doesn't want it? Why? Coach didn't answer me. I didn't know why he didn't. It was clear as the day that Satoko's uncle was being violent and treating her like a slave. So then why? I clamped down on my frenzied emotions and waited intently for Coach to answer. But he never did. It wasn't like he was pretending he hadn't heard me. If I had to say, it was more like he wanted to explain, but couldn't put it into the right words. So he's taking time to compose himself. We can give him a second. Satoko-chan probably thinks of this abuse as a trial. A trial? This isn't some weird religion worth talking about. You might know this, but Satoshi-kun always looked out for Satoko-chan. She always relied on him, almost as though she was utterly dependent on him. I'd known for a while that Satoshi had always protected Satoko from her aunt and uncle. But that was his duty as an older brother, not something to worry about. I think that may have traumatized her. Maybe she figured that depending so heavily on her brother had made him hate her. And for Satoko, this hurt situation was a retelling of the story for over a little year ago. But this time Satoshi wasn't here. So I believe that now she thinks something like this. She wants to overcome this trial by herself without relying on anyone else, and that if she doesn't grow strong, then Satoshi-kun will never return. Now that he mentioned it, Satoko had never said a word about how hard it had been before. I figured she was being threatened not to talk about it, but I talked with everyone and we were wondering if we should report it to the Child Consultation Center. I have heard that a social worker was visiting Satoko-chan last year. Yes, in the end they decided to wait and see, and we thought maybe that made her get tormented even more. That was, apparently Satoko-chan reported it herself. What? And as a result, the abuse worsened, but was just kept out of sight. She was under even more torment, and the burden of Satoshi-kun protecting her rose considerably. Could Satoko? She wouldn't be thinking it's her own fault for reporting it, would she? Coach nodded quietly. Satoko-chan would probably either hate it if you suggested reporting the abuse, or feign courage and say you didn't need to. And even if you reported it in secret, she'd probably insist to the social worker that she wasn't being abused. Satoko always acts tough and doesn't readily admit defeat, so I could imagine that easily. And there are strict limitations on this emergency measure. The Child Consultation Center would need permission from both the court and the concerned party. If the abuse was known to the public, they could forcibly shelter her even if she denied it. For Satoko-chan, that would probably mean losing. This isn't about winning or losing. It's real life. Satoko, she's back on this topic. After they placed her under the protection, she would be sent to a child care institution or the like, and she would basically be living there, so it would mean moving away. And with the change in residence would come a change in schools, too. That changing schools, it has to be done. That's what it will take for her to be safe. Satoko-chan understands all those things. All the more reason for her not to want it. Why? Because Satoko-chan's reason for living is to wait at that house for Satoshi-kun to return. She was a husk, an empty shell after being abandoned by her brother. How did she find a reason to live? Try looking at it from Satoko-chan's point of view, rather than your own. I felt like he was trying to confuse me with what was hard to understand roundabout way of talking so unique to adults. The point was I couldn't do anything about Satoko wanting to stay at that house, and that I should watch until she gives in. In the end, no matter what I said, Coach himself was saying to wait and see. Again, we should talk to our parents about this, but at least he knows, and Satoko knows that we care and we're there for her as well. So that was good, and we helped, and we were able to have this conversation. That's good. And our car ride is getting us home pretty quickly. And we have a doctor here that can also vouch for what we've seen and to talk about Satoko. Either our parents will adopt her or they will know some way to help. I don't understand. What? If I feel that Satoko is really in danger, I will report it without anyone's opinion. She might not be happy with the result, and she might hate me for it. But I believe that will ultimately be what brings Satoko happiness. Coach turned to me and gazed fixedly into my eyes. It was written all over his face. He was shocked at what such a young kid had said. Why? Why would you go that far? Coach. No, rather, normal ones might not have understood. So I taught him the creed and the values that I believe in. Satoko is my friend. And I am Satoko's Nini. Isn't that enough of a reason? I stared at him with a will strong and unbreakable as steel, as his eyes betrayed a tiny bit of unrest. No, of course that's enough. We were silent for a little while, until finally Coach said only that. we make a promise. I'm sorry, what? That we weren't going to ever let Satoko cry. We made it the vow the day of that barbecue party. I didn't think about it hard at all, but Coach and I still made a promise that we wouldn't ever let Satoko cry. Coach gave me a dry grin of regret, immediately apologizing for not remembering. One way or another, when he grinned like that, it made me think, like his enthusiasm for saving Satoko was a tiny bit smaller than mine. He lightly hit the brakes, making a skidding noise, and I leaned forward. Could that be your house there? Oh, right, Mabara-san would live at the Mabara residence, wouldn't he? Before I knew it, we were almost to my house. Why is it dark already? I went by car. Are we going to talk to our parents? I think we should talk to our parents. Case 31. Plain to see. Met someone's relative. Hope everyone out there is having a good day.